When we talk about Bolgheri, I think even the mentality is quite different, no? So compare with other appellation, because first of all, it's important to talk about the appellation, no?
Yeah.
And then about the wines. And
So you think it's more about the appellation first than...
no, I mean, of course the wine, but because I think every wine has its own style and every wine has its own identity, and I mean, it's important to share even the experience, no? For grow the quality, grow everything about Bolgheri. And I think it's unique, even an example for me, I'm the young generation, and we have even other young guys from work for other wineries, and we make dinner together. We share many things, because I think if the appellation works well, the market is going well for everybody.
Exactly.
So, and I mean, it's so we love each other.
So there are other younger people, because I was going to ask you, there's not a lot of young people like yourself, like getting into the wine business. You always see wineries struggling to figure out, is the next generation going to take over? Or am I just going to sell it to a big company and cash out? You know,
but in my situation, of course, is a family winery. So my family, because we became from Della Gherardesca family. Della Gherardesca family was the most important family for the area of Bolgheri, no? And we are 3 families from Della Gherardesca who produce wine in Bolgheri. Is Castello di Bolgheri. Della Gherardesca.
Okay, Della Gherardesca.
It's a very noble family from Tuscany. Last Della Gherardesca of my family was my great-grandmother.
Okay.
But an example, Tenuta San Guido with Sassicaia are from Della Gherardesca.
Okay.
Antinori with Guado al Tasso are from Della Gherardesca.
So it's all the same family.
Exactly. Same family. Of course, everyone has his own business, but
and your family included as well.
Yeah, of course. We work obviously for Castello di Bolgheri. We represent Castello di Bolgheri. But first of all, an example. No, we should speak about Sassicaia, because Sassicaia were an example for everybody.
Yeah.
And
they were an example by kind of starting that super Tuscan.
I mean, so first of all, of course, super Tuscan is a good word, 100%.
I was going to ask if you're a fan of the word or if you hate the word.
No, it's a good word, because it's the people enjoy the wine, for sure. But we prefer the people talk about Bolgheri. An example, Castello di Bolgheri is a DOC Bolgheri Superiore, so the highest expression of Bolgheri wines. Ornellaia.
If it's the DOC, it's the highest expression of Bolgheri.
Yeah, DOC Bolgheri Superiore, because Bolgheri is an appellation. In total, in Bolgheri, we are 1,300 hectares of vineyards.
Very small, extremely small.
70 producers, more or less, around 70. And 70% of these hectares belong to 9 wineries.
70% of the hectares belong to 9 wineries.
So we have many little wineries even in Bolgheri. They produce very good wine. In our estate, we have 55 hectares of vineyards, obviously French varieties. And but yes, we should speak about Sassicaia, because the first person to start to believe in French varieties was Mario Incisa della Rocchetta. Mario della Rocchetta was my grandmother's uncle.
Okay, your grandmother's uncle. Okay, got it.
And he planted the first Cabernet in 1944. Before that time, nobody planted French varieties in Bolgheri.
Was there even wine in 1944 in Bolgheri?
Mostly Italian varieties.
Okay, exactly. And just so our listeners understand a little more, you mentioned Tuscany, then Bolgheri. Right now, when we talk about Bolgheri, we're talking about the coast. Would you call it the Tuscan Coast?
Tuscan Coast.
Tuscan Coast.
Tuscan Coast, we are in Tuscan Coast, is a province of Livorno. Yeah. Okay, but is an hour 30 from Florence.
2 hours north of Rome or something like, or
yes, is an hour from Pisa, 45 minutes from Livorno. So of course, even the space in Tuscany is quite different. No, the US is smaller. No,
it's much smaller. But I think when Americans or when anyone in the world thinks about Tuscany, they think about just in general this area of Italy, right? And mostly you have Chianti Classico there, Sangiovese is the magical grape. But in Bolgheri,
it's the same Brunello. No, we are in US, Montalcino. For producing a Brunello, it should be 100% Sangiovese.
Exactly.
The traditional variety of Tuscany is Sangiovese.
Exactly. And here, we're what would we say? It's like were revolutionaries, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know,
Yes.
bringing something different to
Yes.
the table. So back to 1944.
Exactly. So in the past, so the people, they tried, no, to produce even Sangiovese, but was bad.
It was bad.
Was very bad.
Because the soils or the...
Yeah, the soil for sure, the microclimate and the terroir.
Yeah.
No, so that's for sure. That's why now even I can say Bolgheri, we have few steps. No, the people start to know very well about Bolgheri. 1944, first vineyard planted by Mario Cesare Rocchetta, and it was the Dietro Sassicaia. This is the first vineyard of Sassicaia. 1944, first vintage in the market was in 1968. For more than 20 years, was just table wine, Sassicaia.
Ah, okay. So 1968 was the first vintage of Sassicaia?
On the market.
In the market. But before it was table wine.
Exactly.
I could get a Sassicaia for €5 or even less. Okay.
Yeah. Was just, they didn't sell. So it was just for the family.
Yeah.
No? And then in 1968 they start to sell Sassicaia. In 1977, family in Cisa, no, our cousins, they ship few bottles to France, no, to Bordeaux. It was a grand tasting of Bordeaux, no, and of course we produce. They already produce French varieties, and they make a huge blind tasting.
It's like a Judgment of Paris type of tasting.
Yeah, it was in 1977, if I remember well.
Okay.
And vintage 1972.
Okay.
Okay. And then they make this blind tasting, and Sassicaia was first.
Sassicaia came out
first wine
against Bordeaux's and
exactly
and
against everybody. And when they open and they see the label, the people was incredible. They say, "What is this wine? Nobody's know this wine."
Yeah.
No. And then the people start to talk about this wine. And then another step.
And they didn't even know what Bolgheri was. They just knew where was this wine. They didn't know the region or anything like that.
Nothing. In 1985 was the first Italian wine took another point Robert Parker.
100 points, Robert. The 85 Sassicaia.
Yeah.
I saw it at an auction and I really want to try the 85 and it just, the price for an 85 Sassicaia is crazy.
And was probably, I read in the past, the most, so his favorite wine for Robert Parker.
Yeah.
Since ever. The best Cabernet. And he said, I tasted 10 times, and so many times in his life.
Yeah.
And he always say, what an incredible wine.
And we spoke about this in our last podcast, but if Robert Parker gave 100 points, the winery changes forever. It's like, it's a big deal back then. Now 100 points, maybe it's not the same, but with Robert Parker, that was huge for
100%.
Sassicaia, right?
I'm agree.
And then what happened after that? So there are more wineries.
So no, they continue, and they, of course, the people around starts to know about this wine. They start to understand the potential of French varieties in Bolgheri, and then of course, and then start Ornellaia, even first wine from One Spectator at the beginning of 2000.
Exactly.
And so they were an example. So, but the first DOC, so they actually rules DOC Bolgheri, because the Bolgheri appellation is called DOC Bolgheri and Bolgheri Sassicaia. Okay.
Exactly.
Bolgheri Sassicaia. Every producer, all the producers from Bolgheri are
all 75 of the producers are in Bolgheri
DOC Bolgheri, yes, DOC Bolgheri, but Bolgheri Sassicaia belong to Tenuta San Guido. They have his own appellation,
and it's just them.
Exactly.
Oh, so they have their own DOC.
Bolgheri Sassicaia. That's why, as an example, if you read the label Castello di Bolgheri, Ornellaia, Guado al Tasso, you read DOC Bolgheri Superiore. For Sassicaia, you see Bolgheri Sassicaia.
Okay.
Okay. It's like
why did they do
own
that?
appellation.
It's just a separation.
Yes. No.
Okay.
I mean that was the good way for them, and then they decided to do that.
But the Bolgheri DOC, Bolgheri, is it the name of a city or is it just the name of the region?
Bolgheri is the
there
name.
Is a town
exactly.
called Bolgheri.
It's the village of Bolgheri.
Okay, and that's
Bolgheri,
what the DOC is
exactly.
named after.
Bolgheri is the village where is our cellar.
Okay.
Because our cellar is the oldest cellar in Bolgheri area, built in 1796.
1796.
Yeah.
It's the oldest cellar.
In all the area. It was the cellar belonged to the La Gradesca family.
Wow. But the family goes back to the 13th century.
Exactly. Family La Gradesca in Bolgheri since more than 1,000 years.
Okay. It's crazy. We talk about, I don't know, in California, in Napa, we talk about, it's a 50-year-old winery or all that. In the old world, is a different game.
Yeah, because the family been there since more than 1,000 years. I told you, not by heritage, by female heritage, because Latte Gresca of my family was my great-grandmother. And yes, so that's why it's a recent story about producing wine. I can say, yes, old story, but actually DOC was founded in 1994.
1994 is when you guys decided we have to organize ourselves.
Before that time was 1982, but different roots. The actual roots is 1994. And what I have to say, and my father said always, my father was the second president of the appellation. Our first president was Niccolò Incisa della Rocchetta. Second president was my father, and then was Alberto Antinori.
Your father, Federico.
Exactly. Okay. And today is Cinzia Merli from Le Macchiole, another very, very good winery.
Got it. And then because it's interesting, because Bolgheri DOC before, like I said, revolutionary, right? You guys went against what other DOC rules to create different style wines. Was the Bolgheri DOC basically created to ensure that what you used in the grapes was, international varieties? Like, what do you have to do to be in the DOC now?
No, DOC, because of course you have to.
And if I'm wrong, tell me. You're the one.
No, you have no. Anyway, I mean, of course you can do whatever you want. Anyway, of course you have to make you have to ask a permission, if it's a correct word, with the government and many things, and then you can start to produce a DOC Bolgheri. But 1994 was born a DOC Bolgheri, the actual root DOC Bolgheri. That's why is 32 years of appellation. My father said always, Bolgheri until today was very successful, hopefully, thanks, first of all, to Sassicaia and Ornellaia, because they were an example for everybody, 100%. And, but was like a laboratory for everyone. We believe a lot that if we compare the future, the next 30 years will be even better. Because the people has more confidence, can invest more. Even Castello di Bolgheri winery, we don't produce the same wine like 20 years ago. So because producing wine, so know-how increase, you grow, so many things change. The attention in the vineyards, the attention in the cellar. So many things, even we know, even when we taste the old vintages, how the wines, the evolution we did in the past.
And then hopefully in the future, like you said, Ornellaia and Sassicaia really brought the eyes to Bolgheri, but it was through the producer's lenses, right? Now, hopefully people go to Bolgheri for the region, getting to know the region first.
100%.
Because people know, you ask any collector, Sassicaia, Ornellaia, Masseto, they know it. You ask them, where's it from? I don't know, getting to...
They know, exactly. That's why our job is also to talk about that.
Exactly. And it's your first time in Miami. Yeah. Is it your first time in the States or Miami?
No, in States I've been a few times. Miami is my first time.
When you travel, what frustrates you the most, or what do you think people... what's the biggest misconception people
So, I mean, first of all, I can say everybody starts to drink Bolgheri wines. In general, they love it. That's what you say, because they are very elegant wines. I can say about even Castello di Bolgheri wines, and
I think it's a wine that's very it's very approachable and accessible for the American palate too. I think it's really just I taste it.
An example as our winery, because I told we became from the Gradesca family. Our vineyards, we have 55 hectares. Is exactly the last kilometer and a half along the famous Bolgheri Avenue.
Yeah.
Last kilometer and a half on the left side.
Yeah.
And.
Let's see the map. So I just want to see this real quick. So just so our listeners can see. So this is the map, right?
Yeah, okay. This is the map. We are in the northern part of the appellation.
Just so you guys know, this is the water. It is literally just a few miles.
It's the Mediterranean.
You can see it from the vineyard.
Yeah, okay. Exactly. Is from here, where is Bolgheri village, is almost 6 kilometers.
Okay,
so,
got it.
And so this is Castello di Bolgheri vineyards, the green one. Tenuta San Guido, where they produce Bolgheri Sassicaia. The main part of Ornellaia vineyards. And this is all the producers, Guado, Tasso, so many Grattamacos around here, but very little appellation. And we should say even in Bolgheri we have incredible microclimate.
Exactly, explain. So you have mountains here.
Exactly, right? So the hills here, this is the first vineyard of Sassicaia. We have the hills here, and the sea here. Okay. No? The hills blocked part of the wind from north and part of the rain. and the breeze from the sea refresh the climate.
Ah, okay. That's why you have a much different microclimate in Tuscany than in Bolgheri, because here you have all the kind of the wind stopping.
So, an example, here in Bolgheri, I can say, of course, during winter it's cold, during summer it's hot, but it's never too hot or too cold. It's windy more or less 250 days a year.
Exactly. That's why vintages can be different within Tuscany and Bolgheri.
Exactly. And yes, and this is yes. And our vineyards are exactly before the village, and in the village of Bolgheri is our cellar.
Wow. So if you guys see here, I mean, if you look closely here, you have Sassicaia, Ornellaia, and Castello di Bolgheri, right in the middle. So this is an incredible wine.
And I think what is very important. Every wine, of course, is important. Every producer, I think, in our mentality should represent and should explain the terroir, no?
Exactly.
But very important, the terroir is very important, our own identity. Mm-hmm. I think, of course, in our idea of producing wine, we try to produce the higher quality as possible. And I think Castello di Bolgheri wines are recognized very elegant, so very, very elegant wines. We don't use barrique. So 225 liters, we use only tonneau and the big barrels. Very important.
You're not using smaller French oak barrels?
We use tonneau 500 liters, French oak barrels.
And that's you?
Yes. Okay. And the big barrels 35 hectoliters.
Okay, got it. So there's not a lot of that wood influence.
An example, until 2017, we use barrique. And in our idea, because first of all, we work to produce very elegant and for our own identity. No, so an example, Castello di Bolgheri is 75 Cabernet Sauvignon, 20 Cabernet Franc, and 5 Merlot. We age for 22 months.
Okay, so it's Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet
Franc, and very little part of Merlot.
And when I was looking at the appellation information, the data, it was saying, I mean, over 70% of the grapes grown in Bolgheri are, mostly Cabernet Sauvignon, then Merlot, then Cabernet Franc.
100%.
I mean, that's most of it. And over 90% of it is red, correct? I mean, you do make some whites,
exactly,
I guess.
Yeah, we don't produce white wine, but so you can find some very good wineries. They produce very, very good white wine, some very good Vermentino, no? Some very, very good Vermentino, I think, to recognize the most important variety from Bolgheri. But in our idea, we prefer to continue our focus to produce very high level of wine. I think my father, Federico, and our winemaker, Alessandro Dondi, because what can I say? Of course, I started to work with my father since 3 years.
Since you were 3 years old, you were smelling and tasting.
3 years when I started to work. But of course, I grew up in Bolgheri, and so.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. You're born and raised in Bolgheri.
I was born and I grew up in Florence, but Florence, Bolgheri is number 30 now. So I always been to Bolgheri. Every weekends, every holidays, my grandparents being there, always there. So, and what can I say is very elegant because it's also our business, but it's also our country house, holidays house.
It's beautiful, yeah.
So, that's amazing. It's not far. Amazing. And our 30 is nothing.
Incredible. So, and did you, growing up, did you feel pressure from your father to go into the business, or or was it natural?
Never.
Was he like, this is what you're doing, Clemente?
Never. So since many years, I always say to my father, I would like to start work. So at the beginning I say for you. Now I can say with you.
Okay, that's good. Hopefully that helps the relationship a little bit.
And so I have incredible relations with my father. But
what have you learned from him in terms of just, I don't know, any lessons that you take with you?
So first of all, in everything you do, my father never gave me oppression to me and my brothers. I have 2 brothers and 1 sister.
Okay, you have 2. Okay.
Only me.
Same with me. 2 brothers and a sister. We're 4.
No, exactly. We have 4. Also us. So my younger brother already started to work in the winery, but he started to manage more the agronomist part. And so either my other brother, my other sister, they are not in our business, but they know everything about our job, no? Because they come to Bolgheri every week.
They like drinking the wine.
Yeah. No, they love because the attachment in Bolgheri for us is unique.
Yeah.
No, so because you can imagine our, infancy, since when he was very, very young, every holidays in Bolgheri, every weekends in Bolgheri, because my father his life was between always Bolgheri and Florence.
Ah, okay.
No, because so even me, I live part of the week in Bolgheri, part of the week in Florence.
It's like your weekend place on the coast, right? Because what I loved about being there, just the cypress trees, the trees were just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It was just a very beautiful place. And like you said, the wind really helping dry out the grapes and the microclimate. The beach, I went to a place called Bolgheri Green.
Bolgheri Green,
Yeah,
very nice place.
I was just drinking so much wine and I'm like, I need a cocktail, I need gin.
No, you can find incredible restaurant in Bolgheri. Also, yes, Bolgheri is nice, but Osteria Magona, Neoteca Tognoni.
Next time I go,
you should write me 100%, and I give you some very good recommendation.
Incredible. And then it's become, like you said, a prestigious region. And when you travel, you were saying people still don't understand Bolgheri to its core, right?
I think yes, not everybody. They know everyone. I told of course they know about Sassicaia and Ornellaia more or less. But it's our job, to explain what is Bolgheri.
But when people taste it, do you feel like it does well with the palate in the U.S. market? Do you feel like there's a good opportunity?
Because an example, last Friday you asked me how you compare with Bordeaux, Of course, Bordeaux wines, French wines, were an example for sure. But what can I say? We can't compare Bordeaux and Bolgheri because, first of all, the climate is different. The wines are different. The variety are the same.
That's what I was going to say. The wines are different because some people, so I talked to some sommeliers and I talked to some people in the business and they're like, if you're going to drink international varieties, just drink French Cabernet. Why do you need to go to Bolgheri? So Bolgheri, you're saying they taste different.
Bolgheri, for me, for my personal opinion, what can I say compared with Bordeaux? The climate is different because here in Bolgheri it's more hot. It's hotter compared to Bordeaux. The wines in Bolgheri are more fruity, absolutely more fruity and more approachable.
Okay.
I don't want to say that because every wine has its own identity.
Yeah.
Of course, our idea is to produce the highest quality.
Yeah, wines have their identity, but regions will always have their reputation, and that's I think, like you said, sometimes Bordeaux. I mean, I was drinking a 2020 Bordeaux the other day, and it was just like very, very tight and not approachable at all, which is totally fine. Just needs some more time. But what I love about Ornellaia specifically when I taste them is young or old, it is just like
explosion.
And Napa does that too very, very well, where you're not afraid of opening a younger wine because you give it some air and boom, it's going to be good to go.
But even when we talk about very important wines from Bolgheri, what I believe, there is no best wine. There is not one best wine.
Yeah.
Because every wine, I repeat, has its own style, has its own identity. It's always personal taste. So you can prefer Sassicaia, the person behind you can prefer Ornellaia, another person can prefer Castello. So many things.
I think it's refreshing to hear you talk, because I feel like younger generation going into the wine business, there's this collaborative spirit that you're bringing to it. The fact that you're mentioning all these wineries.
Yeah,
I
sure,
like
100%.
Speaking to another winery, they wouldn't even want to mention the name in the podcast episode because they're competitors. Or something like that.
No, absolutely,
but
it's a pleasure.
Have a collaborative feel to it, which I really like, because I think, it's that quote that if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go further, go together. And I think Bolgheri, the consortio, does really well of creating all that information.
And what I forgot to say, in Bolgheri, since 2011, you can't plant more vineyards. So now, if tomorrow my family, we want to decide to plant new vineyards, can't be DOC Bolgheri. The DOC is closed.
Oh, you can't plant more vineyards?
You can't plant more vineyards, DOC Bolgheri. That's why I say the DOC...
I mean, what else is there to say about quality level there? Because the second a region gets big, you want to plant more.
That's why in 2011, the consortium decided, my father with...
To control the quality.
To control the quality, because Bolgheri starts to be very important, and was very important to tutelate the higher quality. No?
Yeah.
And that was very, very, I think, good choice.
I would agree. A lot of times when I talk to wineries, it's like you cannot, it's against the rules of nature to go up in quantity and up in quality at the same time.
And you can focus more
for
the higher quality.
Yeah. But Castello di Bolgheri, taking you back to this, so oldest cellar in Bolgheri, 1796. It's been around for a long time. And did you take over in the mid '90s, or what was that about?
So the Castello di Bolgheri is our family house. Was my grandparents' house.
Exactly.
Since always, and so I told from my great grandmother. The brand Castello di Bolgheri was registered in the 1968 from my great grandmother.
Okay.
We produced wine since that time, but obviously the mentality was quite different. No, we produce mostly Italian varieties, and since 1995, my father restarted the project. No, with my grandparents' support. So my father is an agronomist. My father loves his vineyards like his sons, what I like to say. So he's a very, very huge passion for the vineyards and for manage everything. And then restart the project was a big investment for us.
Yeah, it was replanting everything, right?
But my grandparents believed it a lot.
Yeah.
And so my grandfather, Clemente, I have the same name of my grandfather.
Beautiful.
So passed away in 2021, and he said always until the week before he was in the office, but say always to me and my brothers and my sisters, say, guys, thankful to your dad, we still have such property, such estate, because he believed it a lot in this kind of project.
He gave it new life, basically.
Because, of course, what I should say, of course, in Bolgheri, of course, we are lucky and proud now to receive by heritage wonderful estate, wonderful houses, wonderful land, but it's not easy to preserve.
No.
And that's why we say wines helped us to preserve a family land.
Exactly.
And only with a lot of passion, a lot of work, and so
sometimes it's harder to maintain something than start it.
Because you can imagine all the people in Italy, everywhere, they think, but you have a terroir in Bolgheri, it's easy. Nothing is easy.
No.
You work hard, and then you grow.
Yeah.
Only with hard work and passion, and if you love what you do.
And you saw that growing up. I mean, you're young. You were probably born in the 90s, right?
1996. I'm 29.
Okay, we're both the same age. Yeah. He has hair, I don't. So he has the good Bolgheri genes. I have the 305 Pitbull genes. 96. I was born in April of 96. Yeah. But incredible. So you basically your whole life has been seeing this grow.
And even though I started to approach the wine when I was honestly very young, because my parents and my grandparents educate us, me and my brothers and my sister, to understand what is quality wine. Because if you arrive at 18 years old, because in Italy it's legally to drink wine at 18.
Oh, it's not 5 years old, it's 18. Okay, got it.
You can't understand what is a good quality of wine. So we start an example on Sunday or during public holidays. It's common in Italy, and of course we make lunch with the family. And just like little taste, little taste on Sunday for understand what is a good quality, for educate us to drink the good quality. And the good quality doesn't mean only, it's a very expensive wine, but it's important to understand what is a good quality of wine or is a bad quality of wine.
Now, when you tasted wine, and trying to understand quality, you also have to understand quality on an international scale. When you were older, did you start tasting wines from around the world as well?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Because I think it's so an example. In my house, we don't drink only Bulgarian wines. Of course, we drink a lot, but I'm curious to taste many wines.
Like you're at James Suckling, where did you have a chance to walk around and taste?
Absolutely. An example, we are here in Miami, but I'm curious, never been yet, but I would like to go to visit Napa and taste so many Napa's wines. Of course, I drank a few bottles from Napa, and I think the wood wine is incredible. I think it's incredible because you can find different culture, different people. But even if you talk about Italy, from north to the south, there is so many good wines.
And I think what you find also is, at the end of the day, I think a region becomes successful when you find the grape that best expresses that region. Napa did it well with Cabernet, where Cabernet is king. And now Bolgheri is ripe for success because you guys have found, years ago, I'm not saying you found it now, you guys found the grapes that best express the place and that give it authenticity, right? So I think you guys
And I believe the future will be even better. No, can't wait, Sean. Maybe we see again. No, we see, of course, when I come back to Miami. But so maybe we taste again after 20 years, no? Castello di Bolgheri, maybe 2030.
Yeah.
And even other Bolgheri wines, I'm sure and confident the quality will be even better than today.
Cheers to that. Cheers to that.
Cheers. Can't wait.
Yeah,
Can't wait.
It'll be great. What's the oldest vintage of Castello di Bolgheri you've had? Have you tried older?
Yeah, so we tried, but I told you the brand was just in 1968. That's why we say old story, but recent project. No? The estate belonged to my family since always, but the ideator of this like new project with French varieties was my father since 1995.
Okay.
And was another step very important for our winery when since 2005 start to work with my father was our winemaker. No, what can I say? Alessandro Dondi, I call him Alex, is probably he's my mentor, no? Because he's an incredible palate. And so he's not part of the family, but he's like part of our family.
Is he from Bolgheri? Or
he's from north of Italy.
North of Italy.
And start to work with my father since 2005, and he's still in the winery. And he's
so he's been there for nearly over 20 years.
So the evolution of our wines was the work together, both they did in the past since 2005. My father and Alessandro Dondi, our winemaker.
Amazing.
So and he's still
because your father's an agronomist, he's a vineyard guy, so he really understands the vineyard and spends time there. And so basically the vines that you guys are planting right now, the Cabernet, the Merlot, Cabernet Franc, they're in that 20-year range, or are they?
Yeah, sure. But even an example now, of course, we changed a few things. An example, in the last few years, we increased some Cabernet Franc, and we removed some Merlot because.
You didn't extend the plantings. Basically, you're working with the land you got.
So because with the experience, you understand many things. So in the past, we use more barrique, and then in the since 2017, we remove every barrique and we use only tonneau in big barrels. So many things, because producing wine in every job you do in your life is always an evolution, and you improve year after year. And in my little experience, what can I say? Many times the people ask me, but what is the best vintage? No, it's a classic question in my job. People asking, and then I always reply, there isn't a good vintage, a best vintage, because every vintage is great, every vintage is different.
Yeah, the way I don't like to ask people that either. What's your favorite vintage? I don't think it's a great question. I think the question is, and I asked this to the last winemaker I interviewed, what's the vintage that you remember the most for it being special or challenging or things like that? For Napa, this winemaker said 2020 because it was when the fire happened and it challenged her to the max. Like for you, when was the vintage that you really had a big responsibility at the winery, when you felt like, wow,
so
this is
I can say two. So I think always now, because I say about my opinion and my taste.
Yeah.
So for sure I can say 2015 was great. And can I say even in Bolgheri 2021 that's very incredible.
Yeah, it was, you had a lot
so
of good
I think
wines
because it's a wine I think is drinkable today, but a very good structure, very good balance. I talk about, Castello di Bolgheri 2021, and it's a wine can't wait to drink in the future.
Yeah. And you have, you guys have young people in Bolgheri, so you think you're confident about the future? You have other younger.
Honestly, yes.
Community?
Yes, because I think, of course, it's not a good period for the wine business, but I think the people are looking even more for the high quality.
Exactly, and it's attractive because most people say people want to move to the cities; they don't want to be outside the city. But Bolgheri, like for people traveling and wanting to go to Italy, Americans love going to Italy. They're obsessed with Italy. They go to Florence, drive, and they're in Bolgheri.
Absolutely,
like that. So
absolutely. And of course, we are very happy because I think, so even during the blind tasting, the Castello di Bolgheri is always fantastic.
I love it.
And what can I say? We work to be on the highest level of Bolgheri wines. But an example, no, I already showed to you, no, where is our vineyards, no, between Sassicaia and Ornellaia, but Sassicaia has its own style, Castello di Bolgheri has its own style, Ornellaia has its own style.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's why I think it's very important.
And that's why it's fair to talk about all of them as well. And this Castello that's on the bottle right here, is this the winery? Basically, is this where if I go visit?
Yeah. No, so the visit, so we do in the cellar is 50 meters from the castle, because the Castello is the family house, was my grandparents' house.
Oh my God, that is amazing. That is amazing. Incredible. Well, very excited to keep tasting this. This is incredible wine. Clemente, thank you so much for being here.
Sean, and, thank you for this great opportunity to share what is Castello di Bolgheri wine and Castello di Bolgheri winery. And for me, it's a pleasure not to explain, to talk about Castello di Bolgheri and to talk about the appellation.
Exactly. And, this is like a Bolgheri 101 episode. I think we, in a short amount of time, we talked about the DOC. We even showed a map of the region. I'm going to include the website as well to the DOC, because I think there you see the map,
100%.
You see all the producers, and also you see how many bottles were produced in the past like 20 to 30 years. I think it was like 4 million that went up.
So now in total, if I remember, is around 6.5 million DOC Bolgheri wines. But yes, I think it's the most important thing. I believe should be the quality. And what can I say, even in our situation also, is we have only one owner, and it's my father, Federico. And as you can see, even in the battle, you can see Count Federico Zileri Dal Verme.
Okay. So there's no, it's not a partnership with other companies.
Absolutely.
It's a family
winery. And I think you can even choose a follow even more the quality.
Beautiful.
No, so because there is only one owner, and it's my father, and then can decide everything.
Who you work with, you don't work for. You work with.
Exactly. With my father, and of course, even my brothers, they are involved to everything in everything, because they know everything. They love Bolgheri. We have incredible relations.
So you guys all live in Italy? Or? Okay. You guys all live in Italy.
Well, also my brother studied here in US at the University of Washington in Seattle.
Amazing. Okay. So if you go out there, you got to go to Oregon, you got to go to Napa, you got to go to California.
But for me, it's very, I think, great. Am I happy to share with the people, of course, about Castello di Bolgheri, but explain what is Castello di Bolgheri wines. What can I say?
The history of Bolgheri and how it defines the history there.
Exactly. So the historical cellar of Bolgheri.
And I don't want people to get confused here, but you have Castello di Bolgheri, then you have Varvara.
Exactly.
So you have 4 red wines in the portfolio.
Exactly.
Just so people understand.
Castello di Bolgheri is our first wine. It's the image of our wine. It's our DOC Bolgheri Superiore. No? Because as you know, in Bolgheri you have 2 levels of wine.
And back to DOC.
Exactly. DOC Bolgheri Superiore, highest expression of Bolgheri wines, and then DOC Bolgheri.
Okay. How do you become DOC Bolgheri Superiore again?
It's the aging.
Aging. Okay.
Yeah,
the aging.
Absolutely.
Same with Gran Selezione, same with all the
Exactly. Yes. So I can talk about Gran Selezione because I don't know exactly the rules.
No, but the aging requirement is part
and
of
of course it's the highest selection of our grapes.
Okay.
Then Varvara is our second wine, is our DOC Bolgheri. It's more approachable. And then we produce our IGT Toscana is Flocco. And then since 2021 we started to produce what can I say, an outsider, no? New wine. The only wine is 100% Cabernet Franc. It's Barinka.
Okay.
Barinka, and is also a DOC Bolgheri Superiore, arrived in the US this year. It's only 2,500 bottles, and it's a wine we will produce only the best of it.
Okay.
Only the best vintage because it's a cru, and we see how going the harvest, how going the aging. And then it's a new challenge, and but what can I say is an incredible expression of Cabernet Franc from Bolgheri.
I'm excited. I tasted Varvara and Castello di Bolgheri at the event, right?
Exactly.
2. They were really great, like you said, approachable, high quality wines that you show anyone put on the table, and they're going to be good. And that's why I wanted to sit down with you here today. But also because I think more people need to understand what Bolgheri is. So
Absolutely.
you did a very good job, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much.